Chosen one, there is something you carry that is not visible to the natural eye, yet it is loudly heard in the spiritual realm. You walk through life thinking you are ordinary, unaware of the impact your presence has on the hearts of those who try to destroy you. They don't fear your strength, your appearance, or your resources. They fear your anointing. They fear the unseen hands that guard you. They fear the way you rise again even when they swear you should be defeated. Every time you step into a room, their spirits react before their minds even understand why. Darkness recognizes light long before light recognizes itself, and that is why your soul has been the target of envy, sabotage, and silent plots. Before we begin, I want to say this from my heart. If this message reaches you at the exact moment you needed it, if it feels like confirmation, comfort, or divine alignment, then this is your sign. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the guidance meant to strengthen your spirit. And if your soul feels this message speaking directly to your situation, type 1111 in the comment section for divine blessings and supernatural breakthroughs. That number is not just a number, it is a spiritual doorway, and by typing it, you are stepping into alignment with what God is releasing over your life. 1. Your spirit cannot be manipulated. One of the first things that terrifies those who try to attack your soul is the fact that you cannot be manipulated. And when people with dark intentions realize this, it shakes them more than you know. They attempt emotional traps, psychological games, confusion, guilt, fear tactics, and spiritual intimidation. But none of it sticks to you for long because your inner compass is not controlled by human influence. It is aligned with truth. You sense shifts before they happen. You feel deception even when it is wrapped in kindness, and you recognize dishonesty long before it reveals itself in words. You walk away from people who expected you to be blind, who thought you would cling to their approval, who believed you would be too naive to see the motives hiding behind their smiles. But your discernment is not ordinary, it is spiritual. It exposes intentions they thought were buried beneath silence, politeness, or charm. What they don't understand is that your spirit is wired to truth, and your soul rejects anything that does not come from God. You are not easily influenced, seduced, confused, or emotionally entangled because your intuition is trained, not fragile. You have learned to recognize the difference between what feels right and what looks right. They cannot twist your emotions, rewrite your perception, or lure you into spiritual traps. You see too deeply, feel too accurately, and move too wisely. And this ability to see through illusions makes you untouchable. It makes you someone they cannot predict, cannot weaken, and cannot deceive. Your spirit's clarity is too sharp, your awareness too elevated, and your connection to divine truth too strong. That is why you are feared, not for what you do, but for what you see without being told. 2. You carry a presence that interrupts darkness. People who carry darkness inside them feel uncomfortable around you because your presence exposes them without a single word. You don't need to confront, accuse, or point out their wrongs. Simply by walking into a room, you reveal what they thought was hidden. They don't fear you. They fear what wakes up in them when you appear. They fear the guilt, the conviction, and the inner trembling that rises when their spirit is forced to stand in front of the mirror. Your soul naturally holds up to them. You become a reflection of everything they refuse to face within themselves. Your presence disturbs their shadows because your light is not passive, it is active, sharp, and spiritually charged. You carry an atmosphere of purity and alignment that disarms evil plans before they even begin. Even when you are silent, your energy disrupts their intentions. They cannot perform wickedness comfortably with you near. Their spirit becomes unsettled, their thoughts become scrambled, and their plots begin to collapse because darkness cannot execute strategy in the presence of divine illumination. You don't have to threaten them. Your existence is a threat. Your spirit carries an authority they cannot define, a purity they cannot corrupt, and a presence they cannot ignore. When you show up, the spiritual room shifts. Hidden motives surface, pretenders reveal themselves, and those who operate in dishonesty lose their confidence. You are not trying to expose anyone. It happens naturally, because light always reveals what darkness hopes to keep concealed. People may avoid you, talk about you, or act strangely around you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your presence interferes with the spiritual frequency they operate on. You stand in alignment, and alignment disarms darkness every time. 3. You recover too fast. Your enemies are intimidated by the speed of your recovery. They expect you to crumble, to stay down, to fall apart the way most people do when life becomes overwhelming. But you rise, quickly, quietly, and powerfully. Most people need months or years to mend what was broken. But your healing comes with acceleration, because it is guided by God, not by human strength. They cannot understand how you bounce back from storms that were specifically designed to destroy you. They watch you walk out of situations that should have shattered you, and they whisper, "How does this person keep going?" Because your resilience contradicts their expectations. Your comeback frightens them because it means nothing they do can permanently weaken you. They throw betrayal, lies, setbacks, delays, rumors, spiritual attacks, and emotional blows at you, hoping at least one will break your spirit, but instead, every wound strengthens you. What hurts you today becomes wisdom tomorrow. What offends you now becomes elevation later. You do not stay broken, you rebuild, you reinvent. You rise from ashes with more power than you had before the fire. Your soul is protected by the divine, and that protection accelerates your recovery beyond what makes sense. People think you are fragile because of your empathy, your kindness, or your softness, but softness is not weakness. Your capacity to feel deeply is the same capacity that allows you to heal quickly. God restores you faster than the world wounds you. That is why your resilience terrifies them. They realize that even if they succeed in hurting you temporarily, you will rise permanently. And every time you rise higher than before. You are not just hard to destroy, you are impossible to stop. 4. Your isolation makes you stronger, not weaker. Most people become desperate, lost, or emotionally fragile when they are isolated, but you are different. Isolation strengthens you. It sharpens your mind, deepens your spirit, and elevates your clarity. Your enemies want you lonely so that you will break, but instead, you evolve. They wanted silence to crush you, but silence became your sanctuary. They wanted solitude to weaken you, but solitude became your spiritual classroom. In isolation, you hear God more clearly because the noise of the world fades away. In isolation, you understand yourself more deeply because your inner voice grows louder and wiser. While others panic when they are alone, you align. You detox emotionally. You detach spiritually from what drains you. You untangle your thoughts, study your patterns, rebuild your identity, and strengthen your discernment. Isolation was never punishment for you, it was training. A divine strategy to shape you into someone your enemies could not predict or overpower. The more time you spend alone, the more powerful you become, because solitude allows you to access truths that crowds cannot hear. People who hoped isolation would destroy you become confused when they see you returning stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. They expect loneliness to create weakness, but in you, it creates mastery. They expect silence to create fear, but in you, it creates revelation. They expect separation to make you crumble, but in you, it makes you unstoppable. You grow in silence, you transform in hidden places, you become who God designed you to be, away from the opinions of others. And that terrifies those who hope to watch you fall. They don't understand that solitude is your element, not your enemy. 5. You carry ancestral strength. There are prayers you didn't pray but were prayed for you. There are battles you didn't fight but your lineage fought. There are doors you walk through today because someone in your bloodline cried for them generations ago. You carry ancestral strength, a spiritual inheritance that many people do not understand and cannot stand against. The ones trying to attack you don't realize that when they fight you, they're not fighting an isolated individual, they're fighting generations of protection, generations of covenant, and generations of divine reinforcement. You are backed by spiritual warriors who walk with you even when you feel alone. There are moments in your life where you survived things that should have taken you out, not because you were strong, but because someone before you paid the price in prayer. Some ancestor who fasted, cried, suffered, or sacrificed planted seeds that now bloom as protection over your life. You are wrapped in generational grace. You walk with invisible armor. You carry a shield forged long before you were born. And this shield makes your soul difficult to target and impossible to conquer. Your enemies sense something different about you. Even if they can't explain it, they think they are battling a human being, but they are wrestling with a lineage that refuses to be broken. They sense that harming you comes with consequences they cannot see. They sense that even when you appear physically alone, spiritually you are surrounded. You are not just defended, you are backed by legacy. That is why attacks that would crush other people barely scratch you. That is why traps set against you collapse before they even reach you. You carry ancestral fire, ancestral wisdom, and ancestral covering. And darkness fears anything protected by generations of light. 6. Your heart is pure, and that is dangerous to darkness. People underestimate purity, but darkness fears it deeply. A pure heart is powerful because it carries no poison, no hidden malice, no secret envy, no manipulative agenda. Your intentions are clean. Your love is real. Your compassion is authentic. You do not harm others to feel stronger. You do not use people to elevate your own ego. You do not operate from deceit, bitterness, or spiritual corruption. And evil cannot understand genuine goodness. Darkness expects motives, tricks, and selfishness, but when it meets purity, it becomes confused, exposed, and powerless. Your heart is dangerous because it shines without trying. Pure souls illuminate rooms simply by being present. They remind people of what integrity looks like, what kindness feels like, and what truth sounds like. You inspire others without speaking. You soften hearts without forcing change. You bring peace where there is chaos and clarity where there is confusion. A pure heart carries a vibration so high that low-energy spirits feel threatened. Your goodness irritates the wicked because it mirrors their emptiness. Your honesty infuriates liars because it reveals their masks. Your compassion unsettles manipulators because it exposes the coldness of their intentions. People often mistake softness for weakness, but in the spiritual realm, purity is one of the most feared forces. Evil can imitate power, knowledge, charisma, or influence, but it cannot imitate purity. Darkness cannot contaminate what is divinely protected, and that protection creates a boundary no enemy can cross. Your heart transforms environments. It restores hope. It elevates others. It makes wickedness uncomfortable. That is why you are attacked, misunderstood, or envied, not because you are weak, but because you carry a type of goodness that darkness cannot stand. A pure heart is a spiritual weapon, and you wield it effortlessly. 7. Your silence speaks louder than their noise. You don't argue. You don't fight publicly. You don't beg for explanations. When people mistreat you, you simply withdraw, and that silence is terrifying to them. Your quietness forces them to face themselves. When you walk away without shouting, accusing, or defending yourself, it exposes their guilt more powerfully than any confrontation ever could. Your silence becomes a mirror, and the reflection it shows them is uncomfortable. It reveals their pettiness, their insecurity, their dishonesty, and their hidden intentions. People who rely on causing confusion fear those who refuse to participate in chaos. Your silence disarms their strategies. They don't know what you are thinking, planning, or seeing, and that uncertainty scares them more than anything you could ever say. When you stop responding, you remove their control. When you stop engaging, you take away their power. When you choose peace instead of argument, you reveal just how deeply you understand your worth. Your absence reveals what your presence was protecting. People only realize the role you played when you're no longer accessible. They realize your energy kept the peace. They realize your presence held things together. They realize your wisdom covered their flaws. But by the time they understand, you have moved on, quietly, gracefully, and without bitterness. That is why your silence is feared. It is not passive, it is decisive. It is not emptiness, it is strategy. It is not retreat, it is elevation. You don't need to defend yourself because your character speaks louder than rumors. You don't need to explain yourself because your actions have already written the truth. Silence is your protection, your boundary, and your power. And anyone who once underestimated you learns quickly that your quietness is far more powerful than their noise. 8. You transform every attack into power. What was meant to break you becomes your breakthrough. Every betrayal becomes direction. Every closed door becomes redirection. Every delay becomes preparation. People who try to attack your soul expect you to collapse, to lose your sense of self, to drown in pain. But you always do the opposite. You turn their weapons into wisdom. You take their cruelty and convert it into self-mastery. You turn pain into prayer, wounds into understanding, suffering into elevation. You are spiritually alchemical. You turn darkness into gold. The same fire that burns others refines you. The same rejection that devastates others shapes you. The same disappointments that destroy others awaken you. You have a rare ability to extract meaning from every struggle and strength from every loss. Instead of allowing attacks to define you, you use them to redesign yourself into a stronger, wiser, more powerful version of who you were before. Your enemies fear you because nothing they do returns the way they expect. Their hatred becomes your motivation. Their lies become your clarity. Their abandonment becomes your independence. Every attempt to weaken you becomes a stepping stone for your next chapter. You rise not just despite the attack, but because of it. You grow not in the absence of adversity, but through it. They cannot stand that every blow they aim at you becomes a blessing you carry with dignity. You are not fragile clay. You are spiritual metal. Pressure shapes you. Heat strengthens you. Attacks polish you. And this terrifies those who want to see you broken because they realize they are unintentionally contributing to your greatness. Everything thrown at you becomes fuel for your destiny. That is why you are unstoppable. 9. You are marked by God. This is the greatest reason they fear you. not because you are perfect or powerful or rich or loud, but because you are chosen. There is a divine mark on you that cannot be removed, dimmed, or denied. You walk with a spiritual signature that announces you in realms people cannot see. Doors open for you that were closed for others. Opportunities find you even when you're not looking. Protection surrounds you even when you don't feel it. Favor follows you like a shadow that never leaves. Attacks backfire on their senders. Traps set for you collapse under the weight of their own intentions. People who try to destroy you end up exposing themselves. You don't have to retaliate, God does it quietly. You don't have to fight, heaven fights for you. You don't have to prove your calling, your life reveals it over time. When a soul is chosen, it becomes a vessel for divine purpose. And those who carry darkness fear anything connected to God's plan. They see the grace hovering over you like a shield, the peace that does not make sense, the breakthroughs that come after impossible seasons, the strength that rises after every fall. They see your destiny even if you don't fully understand it yet. They fear the future you are walking into because it exposes the smallness of their intentions. People recognize the mark on you before you speak. They feel something different about you, an aura, a presence, a vibration, a spiritual signature that identifies you as someone God has claimed, called, and covered. You are chosen, protected, and guided. And nothing terrifies darkness more than a person who walks with divine favor. Chosen one, never forget this. The attacks against your soul were never proof of your weakness. They were proof of your power. People do not throw stones at trees that bear no fruit. Darkness does not chase a person who carries no light. And spiritual warfare does not hunt the ordinary, it hunts the anointed. Everything you have endured, every betrayal, every misunderstanding, every season of loneliness, every silent battle, it all happened because of who you are becoming, not because of who you were. The truth is, you frighten forces you cannot see. You disturb the plans of people you've never harmed. You trigger insecurities in hearts you've never judged. You awaken guilt in souls who tried to hide their intentions, not because you asked for it, but because your existence reveals what they tried to keep in the dark. But hear this. You are protected, you are chosen, and you are unstoppable. The very things they fear about you are the things God placed inside you. You were formed with purpose, molded through fire, strengthened through adversity, and anointed through suffering. Your life is not an accident, it is a divine assignment, and anyone who rises against a chosen one rises against destiny itself. And destiny never loses. Walk boldly, walk confidently, walk like someone who knows heaven is backing their every step. You are not walking into your future alone, you are walking with favor, with angels, with ancestral prayers, and with the hand of God guiding you. This is not the season where your enemies win. This is the season where you rise, you shine, and everything sent to destroy you becomes the very thing that elevates you. You are chosen, and nothing can stop what is coming for you. This is the Alchemy of Awareness channel. Like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more spiritual awakening videos. If this video got you at the time you most needed, type 1111 in the comments section. Thank you for watching.